Okay, my name's Ted Rosen. I am the program director here for this program. I also have other duties with the entire department, but primarily my primary focus are the graduate students. I've been in this field for well over anybody's lifespan in here except perhaps one, and I won't point out who that individual is, but I've enjoyed it. It's a very broad field. That's something you need to understand. That when you go looking for a job as an IO psychologist, you won't see very many announcements that call for an IO psychologist. They have many different descriptions. The only place you ever see IO psychologist as part of a title is probably in the government, U.S. Civil Service Commission, where you become a GS 180. That's the Personnel Research Psychologist series. The rest of our jobs, you have to read the small print where it looks at your competencies, your knowledges, your skills. And we used to say other characteristics, but we try and avoid them these days. But you have to really read job descriptions carefully because the program is designed to give you competencies which cut across many different fields of endeavor. For example, you could easily be a chemistry lab person, project manager, engineering management. I've taught courses in the medical school and in public health organizations because it's not just human resources, but it's a lot of management-related competencies to make you a better manager and your people better performers. And that's where the O comes in. The O is the part of industrial organizational psychology that deals with organizational issues such as the technology, which we all know is driving everybody. Also, we have facilities issues, ergonomics, human factors issues. We have a human factors course. One of the capstone final projects this past semester was done on us, me as a subject, and the rest of the people that work here in this building. And the young man looked at the ergonomic standards and do our workstations meet those standards? For example, I'm a little taller than average. I have trouble when I want to type something on here because the keyboard is just too low, very uncomfortable. Even our sit-down desks, everything has to be adjustable. And if you don't adjust it right, you end up with physical problems or headaches or eye aches. Perhaps end up wearing glasses that you don't normally use outside of being in front of the computer. So it's a broad field, and we try and give everybody a great opportunity to develop in ways that you can follow your interests. So without further ado, we will begin the PowerPoint, which is not standard classroom procedure. Having been associated with a business school for many years, I really had trouble with some of these guys that would walk in and put up the PowerPoint and then read from the PowerPoint. I have read the riot act to my people, all of them who are, I think, top professionals in the field around town, that PowerPoint's not the way to go. They're very useful for specific subject matter content, but I can only speak for myself, I try and have more class discussions about readings. There's a rumor that all my students can read, so therefore I don't have to read the text back to you. Right, Pam? She's a survivor. So that's the nature of the way we handle the program. All these people have been very good in terms of advising us, you, hopefully in the future, all of the students, and we even have a little bit of fun. So that's important. Our information session, let us proceed. What is IO psychology? In case you hadn't read the website, it's the applying theories, research methods, and interventions approach approaches in the work environment. Industrial psychology is to improve performance in the workplace of the individuals, and the O comes along later in our history to add the influence of those organizational factors I mentioned: culture, facilities, technology, even coworkers. Right now, the big thing is teleworking. How many of you telework? We struck out? I telework this morning. I telework a lot. You know, I get dressed in my formal wear and go down to my office, sit there with a pot of coffee, and do the first half of the day's work, which is very nice. It's interesting how the U.S. government has budgets for teleworking. Every agency has a budget, but very few people are given the opportunity to telework, except when there's snow days. Isn't it amazing how all of a sudden it's okay to telework if there's snow days, but not on a regular basis? One of the questions I've yet to answer. But it involves understanding your worker, and this is where some of our management activities come into play. IO psychology focuses on, quote, enhancing human well-being and performance in the organizational work setting. Many years ago, we focused on the personal lives of workers and helping them schedule things so they did have a family life. And then the dot-com burst came in the 90s, and all of a sudden, nobody was working at home. Nobody had hours. They lived at work. But now it's becoming important again that you do have a balanced approach to your work life. You do have family time and you do have leisure time. That's why it's there. Number 3, we are in the business of having scientific study of the workplace. Rigor and methods of psychology are applied to issues of critical relevance to business, management, coaching, assessment, selection, training, organizational development, performance, and work-life balance. And that link will take you to the Society for Industrial Organizational Psychology, SIOP.org, which is the main professional association in this country for us. And they even have student memberships. Many of you might have found this program going to their list of graduate programs. Anybody do that? Good. Good, good. They have a lot of good information that you don't have to be a member to access. Basically, the only thing that you cannot access are I believe, the personal addresses and contact information of the membership. And everything else is pretty well open. It's a small profession, but growing well. A recent Bureau of Labor Statistics survey, as of December 19th, I believe, last month, cited us, all of us, as the fastest growing profession in this country out of about 35 top professions. So, there's space out there for all of us. By the way, if you have a question, just raise your hand. Okay, we provide master's level education spanning the wide areas of IO psychology, as I mentioned. We are an applied curriculum. Students who want to enter the workplace, return to the workplace with new competencies and skills, and who are looking for the future. It is a terminal master's degree. I'm not going to kid you in saying this is a step on the way to the PhD. Very few programs would accept our degree as a master's on the way to a PhD. As a matter of fact, most PhDs these days incorporate a master's degree into that PhD program. And you don't even need a master's degree to get a PhD. But we are here to make you valuable in the workplace and to improve your value if you're already there. We have an advisory board that I meet with. Some are the professors on what's going on out there in the world of work from different professions. We have a couple government contractors on board. We have a fellow who's a human resource analyst, human capital analyst over at NASA. He's a contractor. Got a guy at another international firm for strategic planning. I have a guy who's a professional recruiter in Baltimore. So we have some people who are out there and active, and everybody contributes to the program, which is great. Okay, we follow the SIOP guidelines for education at the master's level, and again, you can find them at the SIOP site. Designed for early and mid-career students planning to advance or enter the workforce. Courses are 100% evenings, except there's at least one course on a Saturday morning usually. The summer, we tend to be a little earlier. This summer's course, which even when you get in the program, you don't start till September, but it looks like it's now a permanent fixture there. It's called Organizational Change Management, dealing with change in organizations. And a very competent, nice guy teaches it. I happen to know him well. And this is, I've taken a new approach. I've taught this course in a business school before, and I decided last summer, which was the first time I offered it in this program, no textbook. We use cases and articles, journal articles, Harvard Business Review, Sloan Management, all kinds of business-oriented reviews, because that's where the change problems are, dealing with change. Nobody likes to change. Well, you don't have to like it, but you've got to accept it. You know, we do a lot of things in our lives that we don't like to do, but we do them because we have to. Okay, site courses are here. There are 2 online courses here, being all the courses, face-to-face courses, are on this campus. We have 2 courses that are online, instructional techniques, and there are 2 offered for your electives, or specialty courses, we call them. If you enjoy online training and development and you want to pursue that area, once you graduate, you take 2 more of their courses online, and you get a professional certificate out of UMBC. So that's a little bit of a bonus where you can double up on those 2 courses, especially if you're paying for them. Okay, so those are the 2 education courses online. We do require the capstone experience I described earlier, where it's a real live consulting project where you're working or with somebody who allows you to work in their organization. It's to benefit them. You develop the proposal to them because you identify their need for something. The term we use often nowadays is solutions. Well, we're providing solutions for these people. Not computer solutions necessarily, but solutions to improve performance in the workplace. We do not have a comprehensive exam at the end. And we do not have a thesis, which is traditionally a research-oriented activity. MS and MA graduates are usually interested in doing research and moving their way into the PhD, and most PhD programs are designed to prepare you to teach in higher level education and do basic research in our field. Good research is out there, but it's not the kind of experience that's going to put you into the front lines of the work organizations. I mean, it will if you work hard enough, but this program, 30 credits, and you're out there in probably 2 years or so. There's no fixed limit, and probably get a pretty good job. Good job. I just posted an ad for Care First, Blue Cross Blue Shield. 2 of our previous students, our alumni now, took similar internships, got a job offer at the end of their internship. Same thing at Freddie Mac down on Wisconsin Avenue. Internships are the new probationary period, for those who understand that. Okay, prerequisites. Intro psych, obviously. I'd like you to have maybe social psych, that would be nice. You should have statistics in your background and be comfortable with numbers, as I've said. Very quantitative field. So, prerequisites, you can take them wherever if you don't have them. But usually most people who come to the program, I'd say 95% have Psych 1 in some kind of statistics course at the undergraduate level. Okay? So here's our curriculum. 5 courses are required of the core list on the front of the yellow sheet, I guess, or whatever color it is. The one, Ashley, the program guide with the picture at the top. Yep, that's it. That's it. That's it. There are 6 offered. You take 5. The data analysis course is required. So you get a choice of 4 out of 5, basically. Again, because it's a quantitative field, you must have that background. It's a research analysis type course with statistics. SPSS is the package we use, which most schools seem to use nowadays. And I have 2 psychometricians who are just fabulous, I hear, teaching that course right now. Okay, specialty courses, those are the rest. They are listed, I believe, on the back of that sheet. By the way, all this information is on the website. Just start following links and you'll see the world. But specialty courses have been offered pretty much regular times every semester. And as the program grows, in other words, there's more people to put in these classes, we can add classes as necessary in terms of the specialty courses. That way, you know, as the program grows, and if you're here another couple of years, you'll see that we might add one more unique course, say next fall. Not next fall, the following spring, 15. So follow your nose, so to speak. Whatever turns you on, there's a place to go. And talk to the professors who are teaching it. It's easy to find out who they are. Just ask me. Okay, training and development, that's the 2 I mentioned online. Human factors, the lady faculty member is an employee of the Consumer Product Safety Organization down in Bethesda, where they look at ergonomics. I think her specialty for a while was baby cribs. Do you remember when they were in the news? The slats on the cribs were too wide. Kids were getting their heads caught. So she deals with the manufacturers, and I'm not sure if that's still her area of specialty. She has an engineering background as well. Organization behavior management, that's my spring course, and we deal with the organization from the big perspective. This is where you'll get management, perhaps more than any other course. General management, leadership, talk about stress in the workplace, all those kinds of issues at the organizational level. Advanced seminars, they vary by semester. Group decision making is one that I like to teach. It's a fun course for me anyway. Students seem to like it. I mentioned change management. We have program evaluation, strategic planning. There's a couple more and I can't quite put, I can put my finger on it. Oh, we're developing a new one on organizational surveys. how to develop surveys, write surveys, analyze surveys by a guy who's a psychometrician out of Virginia Tech, who's just wonderful, and the students fall in love with him every semester. He's also put in a full career at this small group downtown. You might have heard of it, the U.S. Postal Service. And he and I met there many years ago when we were both staff psychologists. He's just tremendous. Excellent psychometrician. Okay, capstone course we talked about. We help you find an organization if that's what it takes. Hello, Ben. Alumni just walked in. Anyway, capstone, I've been handling most capstones. And it's not really a course per se. You get 3 credits. You sign up, you take it. I work with you basically one-on-one. Or if the number grows too big, I can only take up to about 8 or 9 a semester. If it gets beyond that, Dr. Malazzo, who is the Virginia Tech psychometrician, has stepped in the past to work with students. He's very happy to do that. So it's a consulting project. And what I tell if an employer calls about the student doing work and is concerned about their lack of expertise or experience, I say, well, you've got 2 guys standing behind them who have a total of 70 or 75 years experience in consulting. That should give you some peace of mind. And if it doesn't, then maybe that's the wrong organization to do work in. But that's basically what it's about. We support you all the way through. Okay, capstone. Here's what's coming up, a sample fall course offering. I think it's changed already. But this is what's on the books for your first semester, where everybody will take 672, Introductory to Data Analysis Procedures. Beyond that, it's your call. I suggest taking at least 2 core courses a semester. You have to be careful when you look for courses that there are prerequisites for some courses. Stats is a prerequisite, or excuse me, data analysis is a prerequisite for several of the other courses, including specialty courses. So get it out of the way. We do have an advanced stats course now offered in the spring for those who really want to get into the analysis. And it was offered the first time last spring. It's being offered next week. It was put together by 4 really good people who know their stats, including the faculty member who teaches it, and good old Dr. Malazzo again. He wants to take my job, so I'll just hold it over his head. Okay, program evaluation, that's his course. Legal, ethical, and professional standards. Critical. Look what happened in Virginia. Talk about ethics. Everybody know what happened in Virginia at the highest level? The indictment of the former governor and his redskinette wife. We have it in the workplace. Designing research, designing consulting work. Have to follow ethical issues. We do have them in psychology and other fields. We also cover Title VII, Civil Rights Act issues on selection and placement, any kind of testing and any kind of measures have to be validated. So not only do you have to develop the measures, but you have to validate them to make sure they're measuring what they're supposed to measure. And you're not discriminating, either voluntarily discriminating, which some people like to do, or accidentally, unforeseen consequences, which is disparate impact. They call it in the legal profession. So these are the kinds of courses you'll see for next fall. Integrity is important. Main campus people constantly remind me about our integrity, not ours here at the program, because I take it seriously as well, but in general. At this level, there should be no plagiarism or any way, shape, or form indicate plagiarism. And if there is, we'll question you on it and stick to our guns about it. It's got to be real. It's got to be cited. How difficult it is to cite something you've already read. So take that seriously. Those are some links for the tutorial you'll have to take for academic integrity. And when you go to the website, they talk about it from the undergrad level, but it applies to us as well. And there's currently an issue about the Institutional Research Board, I guess it's called, the federal requirements for human research studies, I guess. Isn't that what it is, Ben? You're still at NIH, aren't you? Oh, no, you left. You left. You weren't there. That was Ben. I'm calling you Ben. You're Alex. Sorry about that. But the federal government has requirements for any institution funded by them, which is every university in the world, that you have to take tutorials. And right now we are asking to have our professional and legal course become mandatory so you don't have to go through their tutorial program. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned, as they say. Questions, comments? That's basically the guts of the program. And yes, ma'am. I don't know. The question was what percentage of capstone students are offered employment. I don't know because many of them are already working. It becomes a little difficult. So I can't give you that answer. It's not exactly a stepping stone to a new job. I mean, it could be, but it might not be. And some projects are such that they're not going to take you into a position. Sorry about that. Yeah. You mean College Park? You know, everything here is the University of Maryland. Okay. No, we are strictly UMBC, up near the airport. The group decision course comes out of an executive program I taught at GW, of all places. Executive MIS, of all things. Talk about quiet classrooms. Yes, lady in the back. Yeah. Classes run, well, you see, it depends on sometimes the length of the semester, but basically they're about 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours. And I encourage breaks for all the faculty, and they take breaks. Nobody can sit that long. So you're out of here before 10. Once a week, yeah, just once a week. Now, in the summer, if you take a summer course, it's the same time, but it's twice a week because it's half a semester. Summer session goes from the day after Memorial Day to the end of the July 4th week. Yeah. Yes? No, I don't put no required courses. No core courses on Saturdays or in the summer. I believe in a full semester for the core courses. Yeah. Up to the individual instructor. I don't keep track of that for them. UMBC in general gives the instructors full control of the classroom. And what's on the syllabus is basically a contract. So they know that and have to stick to the contract. So you don't get any surprises at the end of the semester when you had a 94 and the syllabus says 90 to 100 is an A and you get an A minus. That doesn't work. Anything else? Okay, Ash, I'll be around later. Ashley will talk about the administrative side of coming here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I realized I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. I'm Ashley Waters. If you've been emailing anyone about your application, most likely it is me. And I will continue to be that person, hopefully the entire time. I'm not due till March 20th, so hopefully I'm still here by the March 1st deadline. But you may also be hearing from another woman named Kim Edmonds, who's going to be taking over for me when I'm out in between when admission decisions go out and orientation. But good news is I'll be back by orientation, so she'll just be filling in for me, but just so you guys are familiar with the names. So if some of you have applied, and I know that, but some of you haven't, so I'm going to kind of go over the requirements for that, and at the end, if you have any questions, please let me know. I did go in and pull everyone's current application status as of this morning, just so in case any of you have questions, I can confirm what you're missing if you've already applied. I can do that at the end if you want to check in with me. So Dr. Rosen may have covered this a little bit, but what are the admission requirements for the program? So we are looking for a degree in psychology, or if you do not have a BA or BS in psychology specifically, there are 2 classes that we need you to have, an introductory to psych course and a research methods or stats course. You know, there's quite a few things that are going to fill that second piece. Some people have taken business stats, some people have taken psychology, experiential psych type of courses. Intro to psych course is typically your psych 101, 102, depending on the school you went to. If you do not have these courses, we recommend that you take them prior to admission. So, you guys are applying for the fall term, so you could take these classes if you're really on the ball, maybe this spring somewhere, or over the summer. As long as you have them by the time you start the program in the fall, then you're in good shape if you don't have them currently. You do have to have a minimum of a 3.0, and this is a graduate school requirement. And I know I always get the question, what happens if I don't have a 3.0 for my BA? You know, I got it 20 years ago, or, I didn't quite do so hot the first few semesters, and then I worked really hard, but what happens if I don't have a 3.0? Essentially, if you can convince the review committee otherwise, that either you exceeded really well in your psychology classes or your work experience really makes up for it, they can basically waive that requirement and speak on your behalf to the graduate school. So basically, we just put in a clause as in your admission, regardless of the GPA, we admit this person because of X. So use your personal statement. Make sure you fill out the resume experience form I'll talk about later. And so it's not a firm requirement, just so you guys all are aware. Other big note, the GRE is not required for admission. If you've taken the GRE and you would like to submit those scores, by all means, feel free. It can only add to your application. But if you don't have them, it's not a big deal. Please do not go out and try to cram and study for it now. You definitely can apply without it. It's not a requirement. And then just so everyone knows, the admission to the program are really matched on you guys and the program's fit. So unfortunately, there isn't necessarily a minimum set of requirements. If you meet all of them, you're automatically going to be admitted. It really kind of depends on the cohort of students we have coming in and how you basically sell yourself in the application. So you definitely want to make sure you're taking careful consideration in every piece of your application that I'll go through in just a minute. Okay, so how can you apply? You can apply online. That's the preferred way, or you can apply via paper. Note that applying online is actually cheaper, it's easier, it's quicker. And you actually can submit the majority of things in your online application. So unless there's a really strong reason for you to do paper, I would definitely advocate doing it online. The deadline for fall 2014 applications is March 1st, and that means that your application needs to be complete by March 1st. That does not mean if you apply just in the system, no letters of recommendation are in, no transcripts are in by March 1st, that you will be reviewed. I do try to give you guys a few days wiggle room depending on when the first is. If that's a Saturday or Friday, I try to give you guys a few more days for the graduate school to catch up with some documents. But really, this is a firm deadline. We have applicants that apply for the months of March and April, and they're declined and asked to apply for the following fall. So you guys have plenty of time if you apply over the next few weeks to make sure everything is in. And I do email you guys like every 2 weeks saying, hey, this is what's still missing. So you guys are kind of clued in what you guys still need to get in. So a full master's application is the application with the application fee, official transcripts from every school you've attended. The only way you don't have to submit them from every school is if you know, let's say you attended a community college, then went to a four-year institution. Most times those community college credits will show up with a grade on the other transcript, and if that's the case, the four-year institution is fine. We don't need the community college. Just make sure those courses are showing up there, or else the graduate school will ask for it. We also need 2 letters of recommendation. You will notice on some publications the graduate school asks for 3. That's just a generic kind of level that they tell all their programs, but we decided to knock it down to 2 just as we found getting a 3rd recommendation seemed to hold up a lot of our applicants. They could get 2 really quickly, and then that 3rd one just never came through. So to make it easier on you guys, we reduced it to 2 just in case you see some things that say 3 on it. The statement of goals and objectives, like I mentioned, it's really a great way to sell yourself and why you're interested in the program. Again, they definitely read this and take into consideration, so please spend some good time on it and use it to your advantage. The experience form, I can show you guys at the end if you'd like. Essentially, we would like to require a resume, but we found that applicants sometimes send us 10-page resumes, 1-page resumes, and we have a varying information. And so we've kind of created this form to consolidate the information into a simple format that everyone will follow. That way we have comparable information for all of our applicants. So basically just trying to make it more fair for all of you guys. You basically just type in to the form. It's pretty simple. And then international students, we will need TOEFL scores if you are not a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. So that basically makes up the entire application. A few points of note: the 2 letters of recommendation can actually be done electronically if you submit the names and the emails of your recommenders on the online application. Essentially, there's a spot, you pop that information in, they get an email, and then they can respond directly to that email, and it goes right back into our system. So it's a lot easier than having to fill out a top of a form, get the form to them, make sure it gets back, and kind of, do the weird passing of the paper type thing. Just type their emails in, goes to them, comes back directly to us. You don't have to be involved at all. Makes it pretty simple. Additionally, the statement of goals is done right in the application, so you can go ahead and do that there. And there is a spot to upload the experience form directly after the statement of goals and objectives if you want. If not, you can email me the form and I can get that into your file as well. Okay, so what happens after your application is complete? Starting this semester, we are actually doing kind of rolling admission. We used to wait until March 1st to review everybody. So whether your application was complete in December, January, or after March, we would wait to do decisions. Starting this year, we're actually doing them on a rolling basis. So once your application is complete, you should hear back within 4 to 6 weeks of the decision. I essentially send everything to the review committee. They review it, they get back to me, and then the graduate school does their final approval process, and we'll send you guys a letter of admission if you are admitted to the program. Just so you guys know, so if you're really interested in the program and want to mark your calendars, June 12th is our fall orientation date. That is the only orientation date we hold for IO students, so if you are admitted, this is extremely important. We cover a lot of good information, make sure you're set for this semester, and it kind of gives you some buffer time in between that and the beginning of the semester at the end of August. Other point of note is that the graduate school on the main campus will also hold an orientation, so sometimes students get a little confused. Just note that we do one here because things are a little bit different on campus. The one we hold here is the one that's really important. You're more than welcome to go to the one on main campus because it does give you some good graduate student kind of insight, but it will be geared towards main campus students when talking about the services and that kind of thing. So just kind of make you guys aware of that. And then fall 2014, our classes will start August 27th. So just so you guys are aware of when you would be joining us if you are admitted to the program. Just a few other things about the graduate school sometimes students ask about. You are considered a full-time student if you take 9 credits, which is 3 classes in this program. Anything below that is considered a part-time student. You do have to be registered for 6 credits if you want to be eligible for financial aid, or if you want to defer your student loans from your undergrad. So that 2 credit cusp is kind of the cutoff for financial aid types of things. Additionally, continuous enrollment is a requirement of the graduate school, which basically means you have to be registered each fall and spring semester throughout your time here. During the winter and summer classes, you can take off, just like Dr. Rosen said. We don't offer any core classes, they're just the electives. But every fall and spring through your degree completion, you would need to be registered for classes. Additionally, you can always request a leave of absence. You guys have 5 years to complete the degree, so even if you need to take a semester off, it's not a problem. And also, there are some academic standards. So you are required to maintain a 3.0 throughout the time of the program. If you fall below that 3.0 level, you're essentially put on academic probation, and we're notified. And we basically just want to work with you to make sure you're succeeding in the program. You do have to have the 3.0 to graduate. So unfortunately, we have had some students that have had to retake classes to hit that 3.0 to graduate. So it's better if you can just maintain the 3.0 throughout, and you'll be in good shape come graduation time and after you complete that capstone project. So I was hoping I would have the updated tuition information for you, since fall 14, spring 15 is the new tuition and fee cycle, but unfortunately not quite yet. I checked this morning and they're still not up. So if you are Maryland in-state, you pay $510 a credit, and if you're out of state, which includes DC unfortunately, is $844. So you can do that times 30, plus a little bit of inflation, would be about the full cost of the program. Please note that there isn't necessarily a full-time rate like an undergraduate program, so whether you're registered for 3 credits, 6 credits, or 9 credits, you're going to pay per credit. There's also a facilities fee of $49.50 a semester and a technology fee of $11 a semester. Those are the Shady Grove fees. And then, just so you guys are aware, financial aid, the FAFSA code's there if you guys are interested in applying for aid. The UMBC deadline for the next year for FAFSA is February 14th. So if you're interested in aid, I would definitely start thinking about that in addition to your application as well. And there's always other sources of funding that you can explore. The Financial Aid and Scholarship website has a lot of different opportunities, and we also have some GA positions here on campus that you may be interested in the future. We have an admin GA, there's a psychology department GA, and then we also have some TA positions that help out with the undergraduate psych program if you really love those statistics classes you guys take. Just a few more important dates. So I covered when classes begin, but a fall semester we have off on Labor Day, would have a Thanksgiving break, classes end Wednesday, December 10th, and then finals would be in the middle of December. Just so again, for planning purposes, you guys are kind of aware how our fall semester would run. And this is just a list of some good contacts. So myself, like I said, and I've been emailing with many of you, Dr. Rosen's email. And the first website is the UMBC Shady Grove website. This is kind of your home base. It's actually going to change in just a few weeks. We're revamping our website. But that's really where you're going to find the nuts and bolts of your information, your textbooks, links to the class schedule, other things about the program, information about the faculty, all kind of funneled through that webpage. So that's really kind of, once you're a current student here, your home base for a lot of your information. The graduate school is a really good resource if you have any questions about policies and procedures with the graduate school and as a graduate student at UMBC. And then the University of Shady Grove, that's their website, and that's more about just the facilities here. You know, the bookstores here, the libraries here, cafes here, lots of resources here. That kind of details all of that information. So a few websites for you guys to check out as well and save for reference. Okay. So that is the end of our presentation part of it. I think my panelists escaped. Someone's going to check on for me. Thank you. So we do have, like I said, we have some alumni here that are here to answer your questions. They've been through the program semi-recently. About 3 years out, I think, is the longest alumni we have. And we are approaching 5 years of having people graduate from the program. So it's very exciting. Lots of people doing some great things and enjoying themselves from the program. Also, would like to note the capstone presentations that you do. We actually are hosting that in May. And if you are an applicant at that point, I will invite you to that so you guys can kind of see what the current students are doing as well to give you guys a better perspective. So I will give them a minute to get situated. Like I said, I'm going to basically have them just introduce themselves, what they're doing now, maybe a few points about the program, and then we're going to open the floor up for you guys to go ahead and ask them basically any questions. Again, you have my standpoint as an administrative person, Dr. Rosen's standpoint as a faculty member, but nothing can tell you about the program more than current students and alumni.
My name's Emily Bell. I graduated last winter, and I really liked it. When I first came on, I wasn't from the area. I had moved over 1,000 miles. I didn't know anybody, but I instantly fell in love with it. And this is, as I'm sure you guys already know, but first impressions were great. It's a lot different from undergrad. Look to your left, look to your right, both these people are going to drop. No, everybody here wants you to succeed, and they're going to do what it takes to make sure you learn and you get out of the program what you're putting into it. You know, you're dedicating a lot of your time, money, resources to this, and the payoff is huge. In fact, I work currently at Freddie Mac. I've been there for 2 years now, and I was applying everywhere blindly that I could, and people were asking me about my master's. I hadn't yet graduated yet, and everybody was really interested in IO. They wanted to know more about it. It was really good when I was applying for jobs, but how I got my foot in the door at Freddie Mac is I was a waitress, and a lady came in and she was eating by herself, and after 10 minutes of talking with her, she got out her BlackBerry and sent somebody at Freddie Mac an email, and I got a job there. I mean, you just say IO Psych and people perk up. So it's been a really rewarding experience, and I'll switch it over to him now for an introduction.
Sure. Hello. Hi, my name is Alex Chan. I graduated back in 2011, I think. Yeah, 2011 during the springtime. So to give you a little history of myself, I'm from the area. I went to UMBC at the main campus. I was a psychology major at the time. I graduated in 2008. And then when I graduated, it was around the time of the recession, which kind of sucked for me. So I started thinking, like, well, what can I do? And I looked into the IO program. It was something that I heard of back when I did an internship at Mercer Human Resource Consulting. So I kind of got familiar with that at the time. So I applied, I got in, and I had a great time. It was I think one thing is that my cohorts, all the other students, they were all from different backgrounds, which was kind of cool. So I mean, there were some that were kind of like me, some that were already in the business, some were just trying to find a job, some were like 40 years old, and they're just trying to come back in and try to do something new. But it's definitely a pretty, it's a growing field for sure. Like what you said, when you mentioned that you do IO psychology, either they don't know what it is, they want to learn more, or they hear about it like, oh, I want to learn more about that. So I think it's something that is very useful for almost any type of job. Like for me right now, I work at the United States Tennis Association. So it's something that initially you wouldn't think how that relates to IO psychology. But I use what I learned here with what I do a lot. I use it to help with nonprofit organizations, help them with growing their business and how to plan. So you'll find out a lot of organizations, they kind of just do things kind of like here and there. They're not really planning ahead. So I kind of help them with planning. And I learned a lot of that from this program. So I can talk to you more later, I guess, when we have questions. All right? Cool.
Does anyone have any questions for them? Or I can,
So I started off at Freddie Mac as a senior intern in enterprise risk, and I work specifically with human capital. I built a change readiness system because there was high turnover among millennials and people high within the organization. So I interviewed people, built a change readiness system, and because I was an intern, they really wanted to keep me on to continue the project, but they didn't have the headcount for it, and they said, okay, we're going to talk to people at Freddie Mac to get you to stay permanently. And I actually, again, you never know where your life is going to take you. I'm in multifamily underwriting, but as a project manager. So I do survey reporting, and I work with relationship managers, and I improve the efficiency and effectiveness of their daily processes. So again, it's like when you're a little kid, do you think I'm gonna grow up and be in multifamily under? No, but it's everything that you learn. It touches in so many business areas you might not even know exist, and you don't know where the degree is going to take you, but it will touch everything you work on. Okay.
I can start. Sure.
Okay.
I can be kind of honest if I want. So, like I said, it was around the time of the recession, so I'm trying to figure out what can I do. So that's one reason. Another reason I like the fact that it didn't require GRE because at the time I didn't do that yet. But like I said, I chose the program because it was kind of in the area, and I saw that they were offering IO psychology. It seemed interesting, so that's my reason why I applied. And, yeah.
Um, it's really cliche, but ever since I was little, I just wanted to help. I wanted to help people, and I wanted to be a counselor. But I went to a couple job shadows on that, and I said, okay, I don't think I have the emotional strength to be able to deal with this on a regular basis. How can I counsel more people in a better setting? And that day after the job shadow, we had a speaker come in for IO Psych, and it was just at the time when I was preparing to apply for grad schools. So all 10 schools I applied to, it was within IO programs. And what really drew me to UMBC is it's an honors university, and I was reading, past reviews. I was looking on the website. I was amazed at how successful IO people become within whatever career they choose. I liked the reviews everybody had for it. And yeah, it was the first acceptance letter I got, so I took it as a good sign. Oh. Oh, sure. So, um, when I was an intern, was that position related to IO Psych? Very heavily. Human capital, as you guys will learn, is very central to all IO functions. Basically, an industrial organizational psychologist wants to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of organizations. They do it by collaborating with people regularly, all the time. And that really touches on project management, human capital, reporting, surveys. It touches on a lot of things I do every single day.
I might clarify that before that position, you were in nothing related to IO Psych.
No, I was a server at Longhorn Steakhouse. So.
Yeah, so well, as I said before, I did do an internship with Mercer HR Consulting beforehand. When I first got into the program, I was working at actually a tennis club as a front desk manager. While I was in the program, I did get my position, which I have now, working with the United States Tennis Association, and I just found that I was able to apply a lot of this knowledge to my organization and stuff that they didn't really think about. And once I started talking about it, actually something that I came in, Dr. Rosen was mentioning the capstone project. I did my capstone with my organization. I helped we have volunteer committees. So what I did is I helped them create their work plans. So for their 2-year plans on what they're going to be doing. So because of that, I got a lot of attention from actually my national office. They saw that I was able to do it. They didn't have to send someone from the national office to do it. But that was pretty cool. So you'll learn that you'll find that you can apply a lot of knowledge from here to whatever you do.
So if you're nervous about that, I know a lot of people say you have to have experience, you have to have experience. There are ways around that. Don't feel intimidated or feel like you can't get somewhere because you haven't done enough already. I promise that will never be the case. It will apply to anything you want to go into.
Yeah. So I think most of my classmates, they took 2, maybe 3, but most of them were doing 2 or 3. And like Dr. Rosen said, it's usually at nighttime after work between 7 and 9:30 or so. which is actually very convenient. So people can get off work and then they can take the classes. So that's one good thing about it. That's another reason why I chose the program. I saw that it worked with my schedule. So.
Yeah, it's very flexible. My whole life I've worked full time and gone to school full time. Even now, I'm getting a doctorate. I work full time at Freddie Mac. It's manageable. And here, like again, everybody here wants you to succeed. I made great friends throughout the program because we would camp out in the library together till, or really late at night or whatever our schedules were. We would meet up on Saturdays sometimes together. You're going to use your peers, you're going to use your instructors, every resource you have. People are here for you to make sure you succeed. And that was something I loved right away too.
Yeah, I'll add something to what you just said. Definitely, I made a lot of close friends through this program. So that's something I would recommend. If you go to this program, definitely get to know your classmates. Because I think in a lot of classes, a lot of the courses that they're offering, they're doing a lot of group projects. And you're going to be working with each other a lot. You might as well, like them. So it's good to, have some dinner with them right beforehand and you get to know each other. And in the future, they'll make good contacts. If they get a job and you want to work with their organization, you got someone there. So networking is very big. Yeah.
Please note that that 9 is really other question.
Oh, sure. Like I said, I work with the United States Tennis Association. Currently, my role is that I work with Maryland organizations a lot. So it could be schools, but there's also a lot of local tennis organizations that work in a certain area. For example, there's a Montgomery County Tennis Association. So I will help them with what they do. If they are trying to apply for grants, I'll review their grants and make sure that what they're writing sounds good, making sure that they have the right plan, the right goal sets. So that's the stuff I do with the nonprofits organization I work with. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting it online now because I don't have the flexibility of going to a building 3 nights a week, but North Central University. And I'm getting my doctorate in business administration with a specialization in IO Psych.
I can answer coming from administrative point, on what they experience, but max if you have a very popular that's obviously going to be a very heavily class, but we've actually broken that into did you guys have anything with more than 20 people?
That's correct. Oftentimes even less as you get further in. Like you take special, the different courses, maybe 10 15, closer to that. Get to know your classmates pretty well.
Yeah, the core classes are going to be the biggest ones, and even then, it's you always feel like you're in a small enough setting where you can get one-on-one attention from the instructor, and you can always work in groups. That, like he said earlier, group work is really heavily emphasized.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the courses had a group project.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Not all of them, maybe.
I
Yeah,
think maybe
yeah,
all of them.
yeah.
Yeah. So you have to kind of get used to that.
Incredibly so. Yeah, all my papers, all the research, everything. It's like I just pick up where I left off after I got my master's. In fact, I'm over halfway done with the coursework, and I only graduated with my master's, gosh, a year ago. It's kind of crazy. So it goes by fast because it they do such a good job during the master's program. You learn a lot, it stays with you, and you learn how to do research. You learn what interests you, you learn what you need to do, and it applies directly into a doctorate. And one thing too, this is an applied degree, Master's of Professional Studies. So instead of going for the traditional research PhD, I did an applied degree as well, getting a DBA. So it's an applied context.
Have to do that for, financial I'll have to submit the transcript for the so I always just recommend if there's anything you feel like you need to explain, put it in your why the area doesn't suit you anymore and not necessarily, no. They're 500 word limit. Prompt or anything like that. It's all. Not necessarily. We try to tell you if since we're down to two, colleague and a professor that kind of gives of who they need to come from now. I don't want to make them stand on your fence.
Yeah, I mean, you learn a lot, like about, for example, a lot of organizations, they don't, I mean, they're not even quite sure about their main mission. Like something that seems like so simple, what is their mission statement? And then when you actually talk to them about it, you find a lot of what they do is actually not really part of the mission. So then you learn to how to, okay, maybe you should concentrate on this and not that. That's something. Another course that I recommend is the strategic planning course. That was one of my favorite courses. That one taught a lot because that's long-range planning. Yeah, I think that's probably very important for any organization is how to plan for the future. And again, that's a lot of organizations do not really do it that well. So yeah, definitely those courses, senior courses think of that works. Yeah. So that's pretty good. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. Yeah.
Fine, you're fine. Lauren is our other panelist, so I'm going to have her just kind of give her background and experiences like I had at the beginning, and then
Lord.
Hello.
so we used to just have them explain. Sure. So my background, I actually got my undergrad degree at UMBC as well. So this was a pretty easy transition for me. I think the program had only been around for maybe about a year and a half, 2 years when I started. So at the time, I was working at Johns Hopkins. I was in clinical research at the time. So most people that work in clinical research go down that path. But I was really interested in this program because I did the undergraduate certificate as well at UMBC. Winded. So I was at Hopkins while I was working, or while I was in the program here. So I was getting sort of that working experience in clinical psychology. I was a study coordinator on clinical trials while learning all about the world of IO while I was here. Right after I graduated, I ended up switching jobs, and I'm now a project manager. For a year and a half, I worked for an education company. They were called Connections Education. They were an online K-12 based company, and I had no background in education. I had never taken an education course, but I was able to use what I learned here to become a better project manager. I obviously did a lot of on-the-job training, but the classes that I took here and the experiences I had with a lot of other people kind of helped me get my footing underneath me. I actually just changed jobs. I just started 2 weeks ago, still in project management, but back with working with the clinical world. I'm actually working more with trauma, which is really interesting. And I think it just kind of goes to show that you can do a lot with this degree. I've been able to, become a better project manager, to learn more, and I've been able to use my skills that I learned here to become a better employee no matter where I am.
Somebody before asked about experience too, and yeah, I didn't have any real estate, financial, anything, but it was the IO degree was enough. It was great, and it gives you the start in the company that I know you said too. You are recruiting, and you specifically look for that because it makes you more well-rounded, and it does apply within any business context you can think of.
Around as well. Like what I got, or um, I worked full time. I only took 2 classes a semester when I was here, just because I knew personally that's what I could handle to do well. I think you can take 3 at max. I did it in 2.5 years, so I knew from day one coming in I wanted to do it in 2.5 years, not only to not stress myself out with working 40 hours a week and going to school, but also to keep a high GPA. I think I did relatively well. I think I got like a 3.8. I don't know. It's been 2 years.
And yeah, we're in the same cohorts of the same class. I think what did I get? I think I got all A's except for that 1 A minus at the last semester, which yeah, I think I got all A's.
Was that the group decision?
No, it was this. What was that class? Oh crap, I forgot now. It's been a while too. I'm sorry, I'm getting too old. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the max credits you could, and I only got 1 A minus in the course, and it was the statistics course, which I was actually really happy for the A minus in. So it could have been a lot worse given my track record with statistics. So I graduated in a year and a half.
Okay, I guess it would vary again with the classes. I'm thinking, when we first said, I'm thinking like of the classes that require group work. But that, it does require a lot of outside time. You have to, talk to your classmates. Sometimes you have to come here earlier or later to work with your group. So that might take up some time. That's probably why at most you'd take maybe 2 or 3 classes, because if you do that for 3 classes, that can take up a lot of time. So I think, yeah, I had so much more group work compared to my undergrad in this program. Besides, I think everything else is kind of similar. That you have to make sure you have to read, you're taking notes, obviously. So yeah, I think that's the same. Yep. Anything to add?
I think the biggest thing for me was, like Alex said, it was a lot of, participating in group work, making sure you stay on top of your reading, because it wasn't the kind of thing where in a lot of undergrad classes, it's every week you turn in a short paper or you have to take a quiz or, there's some sort of assessment mechanism to make sure you're staying on top of yourself. It's very independent driven. Like, you're expected to do the work yourself, and what's going to end up counting is either you're going to have a presentation at the end of the semester or you're going to have a big report to write or something like that. And as long as you stay on top of, weekly readings and participation and, being able to talk, with not only your class members, but people that are in your cohort that have taken the class maybe before you, I know that really helped me to do well in the program.
And all of the classes relate to each other. In relationship to your undergrad, you're in chemistry, pre-calc, general psychology, whatever else, music appreciation, you're all over the board. In your master's degree, everything is related to IO. Everything connects to each other, and everything builds upon the other classes. So you can move seamlessly throughout the courses because it all does relate to the end objective of becoming more knowledgeable within the field of IO. Yeah, I would build my schedule around the expectation. So if you struggle with a lot of reading, then maybe take an elective course with the legal course. Or if you feel apprehensive about statistics and SPSS, definitely plan accordingly around that. But the workload was always manageable. I mean, just like with any other stage in your life, you'll have your stressful moments, but you get through it because it's a completely different cohort than what you're used to.
I'll try to mention one more thing. About the term workload. I think 2 of the classes that had the most workload, I think it was strategic planning and the legal class. I thought they had the most workload, but I felt like I gained a lot from those classes. I think those are one of the most influential ones. So that's just something else to keep in mind. That even though you're working, you're getting a lot of work, but you're going to gain a lot of experience and knowledge, things that just carries on even after you're done.
So yeah, I developed a really close group of friends, and we all work within the field or a related career track. I don't want to get in trouble.
For me, and Alex touched on this too, I think the most challenging, but it was also the most fascinating class for me was the legal course. And like he said, pair it with an elective, because it will be probably the most work other than maybe your capstone. In my experience anyway, for a course. It's also because I didn't have much knowledge in that avenue or in that course. So I had to put a lot of extra work as far as learning it, but it was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, it was so awesome.
Yeah. Is it the same professors right now teaching that class?
It was two.
The girls always call him cute. What was it?
What was that?
David and Eric.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Eric is sort
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, about those professors, they do work in the field right now. So you're getting firsthand knowledge of what they're actually doing. So I think when we were doing the course, they had us do like scenarios where
They had us litigate at
Oh,
one
that's right,
point.
litigation. That was
They
yeah.
sat us on opposite
Mock
ends of the
trial. That's
room.
right. Yeah. So it was actually kind of fun to kind of compete with their other team. Yeah. Yeah, so you learn a lot from that class. Yeah, I think a lot of my classmates had trouble with the statistics course. I mean, it might have to be due with some other reasons, but yeah, that was difficult for some people as well. So if you don't have a strong math background, you might struggle a little with that. Yeah. I don't want to say there's any easiest course.
I don't know if it was necessarily the easiest, but you'll figure out like ones that you're interested. Like I really enjoyed organizational behavior and management just because I find it very interesting. So it was easier for me to sort of grasp the concepts and talk about it. So it was hard to say like, you know, I could look at a class list and be like, oh, that's the one that's going to be really easy. You don't really know until you get to know the professors, until you get to know the people that are in your courses. I guess which ones are going to be easy.
And also, too, some of them, it's just fun because you know it's taking you down a potential career. One course, Human Performance Technologies, we did an entire semester-long project, and you actually get to present it. And I was working at Longhorn at that time, and I presented it to Longhorn, and they actually used some of my methods and cited me on it in the restaurant. I mean, it was really cool. It's so when you have classes like that, you don't really think about how hard you're working or the challenges you face. You're focusing more on the reward aspect.
I think also in the strategic planning class, we actually did have to make a strategic plan for a real organization. So like the professor brought in an organization, and we had to create their plan that summer, and we had to present it. So that was pretty cool as well. Also kind of scary because you're actually making a real plan for someone, but that was pretty cool as well.
We are almost out of time, so I want to open it up for any general specific questions. Everyone has a lot of other commitments. So, a big thank you to those guys. Like I said, they'll be around for. Alex came a little bit early, so I don't know if he has to join, but I didn't realize he was sitting here.
This week.
Does anyone have any administrative questions for the greater? Yep, if you're a UMBC student, I do not need your transcript. I can pop that in there for you, not a problem. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, so master students can transfer in up to 6 credits from another program, but it has to be with program director approval. So what you would want to do is just email Dr. Rosen, have the course description and information about the course as well as the grade you got, and basically say, you know, I think this directly correlates with this class. Would you be willing to give me credit for you for that class? But please keep in mind this program is very specifically designed. So it's designed to basically build you up as an IO psychologist. So there are very few classes that would be considered to go into this program just because, again, it's built with a structure for a reason. Yes? No, that's on there just in case anyone has and they want to showcase it. Please feel free to just leave that part blank if you have it. Again, this isn't a research program, so it's not, we don't expect you guys to have written, you know, plenty of articles and be able to cite those. Just in case someone did and they want to be able to showcase that. No, that's fine. As long as you, if you're a current undergrad right now, as long as you complete your degree by the end of the summer, so you can start the program on August 27th, you are good. You will have to submit your final transcript after grades post, and they'll kind of keep you as a provisional student until they get that. So if for any reason you didn't graduate in the spring, they would basically block you. But as long as you have it done by the summer, you'll be in good shape. Yes. It's typically a year, but there are a lot of other kind of like if, ands, or buts to that. So the best people to talk to is the graduate school about residency stuff, and I can give you the contact of the person who's best to talk to you there. Okay, great. Yes. So essentially, like I mentioned, we have one GA position here for the admin staff that helps us out. Dr. Rosen also has a GA position that works with him and the other faculty members in the psychology department. And then this year, they're actually hiring one of the IO students to help with Psych 331 and 332, which are the undergraduate psych courses that deal with research and statistics. So those are the programs that are down here. You are eligible as University of Maryland system students. You're eligible for GA positions in all schools. So it wouldn't necessarily be through us, but there are other opportunities as well. Plus, you are eligible to be a main campus GA. So I know some people live a little bit closer to main campus. They wouldn't mind driving up there to be a GA. So there are plenty of opportunities to explore, but here on site, they're through UMBC, they're a little bit smaller just because of our size. You should find out because right now they would be, the next session would be to be a fall GA, and most of them won't come out until probably summer, and by then everyone who has been admitted would know. Yeah.
Let me, is this working? One thing that came up, somebody asked about GPAs. Was that, I didn't hear the whole question. Who asked that question? Could you repeat that? Oh, okay. I did not speak to them prior to their arrival.
Just so you know, we put it out to all alumni and say, you know, who wants to come and chat with future students. And those were the first 3 that got back to us. Ted and I probably had close to 10 or 12 students that said they would come in. And I was like, well, we're going to overwhelm these people. So we just grabbed the first 3 that got back to us. So if you want to talk to anybody else, we certainly can see who else would be willing to chat with you guys unofficially if you want other opinions. But we didn't hand select them. They volunteered out of lots of alumni. Oh yeah, we'll be wrapping like the general Q&A up very quickly. We'll be around afterwards to answer any personal questions. Like I said, I can go ahead and verify anything about your application status, or you can always email either of us depending on who it would need to go to afterwards as well. We do not. We only offer summer. The winter session is only 3.5 weeks. In this winter session, it's down to like 3 weeks because we've had so many snow days. And the only graduate program we have that offers any classes is our GIS program, and that's because they offer 1-credit courses, which they can plop into that mini session. Yeah. Have you offered 2 before?
Well, excuse me, the online courses are offered by Department of Education during the summer. However, one of the 2 is only on the main campus for summer only, which I never quite fully understood, and the second course is online. Here, for the last 4 summers, I've asked students if they would take a summer course before I scheduled anything. And I finally got enough in the change management class last year that it was a nice class. It was about 12 or 13 students. And I think basically we're only going to be able to carry 1 summer unless there's a groundswell all of a sudden in the next couple of months that they want a second class, or there's so many students who want to sign up that we can offer one. I have, I guess we're thinking of trying a second course this summer. Did you know that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's called Organizational Surveys, and that course was around a while ago, but the professor had the nerve to retire and move to Florida. Never get over that one. But anyway, so Dr. Malazzo, who is quite good at that, is putting one together, we think. I haven't heard from him in a couple of months. So that might be the first time it will be the first time we offer 2. Now that we need to get, in my change class, I'd like to get at least 10 or 12, and probably in surveys it's not as much a group class, I don't think, but he would probably, I know he would need 7 or 8 more students. So out of our 51 continuing students, maybe we can get 20% of them to go for a summer class. Oh, because you don't have the data class. Thank you. I'll note that. I don't think it's that far yet. You know, a lot of the adjuncts, well, all of them are working in their fields. So they have all this information and understanding at their fingertips and on the tips of all the synapses. But I don't know if anybody ever wrote all that stuff down. And it's not so easy when you try and put all that knowledge and content into an outline that turns into a syllabus, and then fill up the syllabus with readings and support material. So I'm not sure you'll be able to get that, at least for another month or 2. Send me an email.
Okay, folks, I'm going to wrap it up just because we went a little bit over time. But please note, we're here to answer any questions for you that you have tonight. Please eat more food. They came and replenished the quesadillas. So you guys were doing really well with those until they came and replenished them. So please feel free to eat up. Again, mingle with one another, connect with one another, and also connect with us if you have any questions. Thank you for attending, and have a good evening. Oh, you can go ahead and put the evaluations just out on the registration table. Just make a pile, start them face down. Thank you.